What is going on, everybody? Lukey Boy here, or Luke, however you want to call me, but I will be trying to associate myself as Lukey Boy just because I have bought the domain lukeyboy.eth, only because that is a nickname I've had for my whole life pretty much, and this is a cool little nickname, I think, rather than call myself, oh, my name's, you know, like, there's a gazillion Lukes, and there's only one lukeyboy.eth, so now there is, and so I'm going to be calling myself that, just as a nice bit of fun, because a lot of people, just like, you know, if you're a gamer or if you're like a streamer, you normally have a nickname, and that's basically what I'm doing, so that's why I'm calling myself that. So obviously my name is Luke, if you did not know, and what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going over a little bit of the NFT market, but actually what I'm going to be doing mostly is showing you my profitable trades for November, one by one, not in one go, not in one video, but I'm going to be splitting them out just as small little 5-minute snippets so you can get to see, you know, that I'm making money. And that it's still profitable to be making money in the NFT space as of the 30th of the 11th, 2021. Because at the moment, we're currently in a little bit of a bear market. And what that means is, yes, there's still opportunity out there, but you have to be a little bit more targeted and specific on what you're looking at. And there's not an abundance of opportunity out there. Before, when I was getting into it, there was abundance of opportunity. You could pretty much get into, like, you know, 5 to 10 times more things and make money. Now, because there is not as many active users and the volume isn't there, there's just not enough money in it that's basically churning through the system to make all the projects valuable. There's not enough money for, you know, where before there was maybe 10 investors for, say, X project, now there's only 2. Well, what does that mean? It means that there's not as much involved, there's not as much money, there's not as much invested, and it's just not as popular, and therefore it's not as profitable. And so, you know, a simple example would be if there's not as many people in the market, the volume is not there, then what happens is people, if they're selling something, people aren't buying as fast because there's just not as many people buying. The volume is just basically as the amount of users or money going through OpenSea, which is this platform, over a day or a month. But I was looking at the day records. And that means people might be pressured into lowering their prices because they're like, oh, I just want to get a sale. You know, the other week I was getting sales so easily. So what's the issue? Or maybe it's price too high, and that's causing a lot of projects to have problems. And the prices went down on 80% of the things, and doesn't mean they haven't gone back up at times and back down and back up. You know, but overall they've stayed in. Overall they're kind of gone back down to that rough price. And so what I've been doing is watching it very intensely. To try to figure out the opportunities, because now the opportunities aren't everywhere where they were before. You have to be a bit more targeted and specific to look for the opportunities. So I like that, actually, because I'm like, well, I want to see what it's like, you know, like, well, I'm a beginner, I'd rather know what it's like to be in all types of positions, because if I happen to make decent money and then be in this position later and I have no idea what to do, like, with more money I could potentially, obviously I could lose more, but if I now learn it now when I don't have all that money, potentially I won't have as much to lose now, and if I can figure out a good tactic for next time when I've got more, I can then do 10 times what I'm doing now in this position next time. But if I come to, you know, if it didn't occur and I came to that, obviously I would be clueless. The opportunity is actually great because if you get into the right projects, you're getting in really cheap. So if you know what you're doing, and what I've been doing is focusing on very targeted projects on purpose, because I do not want to be deviating too much, because obviously I am relatively new. I'm about 3 months into this whole journey from beginner to now, and I want to be taking my time. And, you know, as of November this month, I've made about, well, over on ETH, which is like, what, $4,500 or something, $4,400 and something as of this second, and that's cool. You know, not crazy money, not 40 grand. That'd be perfect. That'd be beautiful if I could do that every month. But we're in a bear market. I'm learning. I'm not here for 4 months. I want to be doing this long term. I see a massive potential in this, you know, 5-10 years down the line. Obviously, if I can build up a great portfolio by that time, so when everyone else is like, it's now a real thing, I'm already done. You know, I'm ready. I'm done. I'm basically just chilling with my portfolio, like, you know. So that's basically the plan. Obviously, I want to learn the tools of the trade as I go, and pick up things which I'll be sharing with you guys, and sharing my trades. So I want you to see what I'm doing. Of course, they're all going to be delayed trades, so you won't really be able to replicate them as such. Maybe you will be on a sum if you happen to come across a very similar situation, but some you also won't. So let's just get started, and I will show you this entry. So this is an entry of, you don't really have to know because I'll show you in a sec, but I bought it on the 27th of the 10th for 0.11 ETH. Okay, so all that information is actually on here, but I bought this. So it's a Women and Weapons, and the reason ultimately I ended up buying into it is because Gary V. So Twitter's quite good to look who is backing and talking about things. Like if huge entrepreneurs are talking about things, it usually puts a lot of eyes. Like you had Reese Witherspoon, is that how you say it? And getting into certain projects, and she's got like 10 million followers or whatever, 5 million, and it just brings eyes, and people start investing because people follow. It's like, if Will Smith, David Beckham, like all these, if these are your aspirational idols, you're going to start to copy them. Just like, why do you wear basketball jerseys of Michael Jordan or whatever? Just simple things like Beckham boots or whatever, Messi and Ronaldo stuff. So same thing. So I bought this, you can see here, a month ago on October the 27th for 0.11. And I sold it 12 days ago for 0.44, and actually, crazily enough, I probably didn't even price it high enough because someone 2 days after sold it for 0.65. So, you're not always making, that's the one thing I'm still learning. Pricing correctly, really, you can price high. You can't raise your price, you can only lower. So really, you could start with a higher price and bring it down if it didn't sell. But at the time, I thought that was good. I was thinking of doing a bit lower than that, and I thought actually that's about 4x. Obviously, after some fees, not exactly 4x, but whatever it ended up being. I'll go over it in a sec, the profits and stuff on this, but I just wanted to show you quickly. So really, I could have actually squeezed out even more money, but again, I'm in profit. I'm learning still, and so that's fine. And what happened is this ended up having a floor price of 0.08, yeah. So it was a bit lower than this, and I bought it for my one for 0.11. So it wasn't much more expensive. If you think 0.08, and I bought mine for 0.11, so 0.080, 0.110, yeah. And the reason I bought that is because my ranking on that product, the ranking on that NFT was about 280 or something. And so basically, some of the stuff. What is this? Oh, it's a bid. What you can see here in properties is there is basically rarity rankings. The lower these are, the more rare it is, and that holds actually value, even though it doesn't actually do anything necessarily. People will pay crazy money for rarity. It's basically like not an ego, but why do people buy 20 million pound pieces of art, 30 million, 40, 50, when they can buy something for 5, and it's still 5 million. It's still a piece of art which is going to be amazing, in the field of art. But people go and buy the thing that's better because they want to be the one that owns the Mona Lisa or whatever they buy. You kind of get what I mean? So it's very similar. Yes, it doesn't look like that, but what makes the Mona Lisa have value when it's just a woman drawn with an ugly woman basically drawn on a canvas? This woman's pretty good, better looking. She's got some cool actors in her hands, some cool avatars. Avatars. Aviators. God, I need to sort myself out. And so what I did then, obviously I flipped this and I made some profits. Cool. And that is the reason I bought it, is because it was rare. And you want to know how I bought it? I actually went on to Rarity Tools. Really simple. I just typed in woman and weapons here. This is literally how I found it. Buy now, I said, low to high. And it gives you the rank here. This is 9,228 out of 10,000. So a lot of these are pretty terrible ranks. I mean, they're not low. And I basically just found 290, I think, the ranking or something around that. It was like there or somewhere around here. So it was not the cheapest, of course, but it was here, and I was like, this is, yeah, these two are not bad. 1,700, 1,008. Actually, they're 1.5. You can obviously go through and check yourself, you know. Doesn't mean you're going to make money from it. You don't know. But what happened is it got discussed or talked about by a couple of influencers, and the floor price went to 0.22. So I woke up and was like, oh, it's 0.22. I bought mine obviously originally for 0.11, and I just sold it for double the floor, which isn't that high, really, is it? Now it's gone back down. If you click on the activity, you'll see on the chart, yeah, around here, the average price 0.26. It was around here, wasn't it? What the date did I say I sold it? 18th. Yep. So you can see here, it's when you can see the volume. So the number of sales is 1,583 sales for that day, 500 or so. And I basically just sold it at the peak. And that's all I was looking to make. And just so you can see the actual profits is this copy. So this is also taking into consideration all gas fees and fees. ETH to, I always do USD because that is how but you can go ahead and actually work it out yourself in conversions. But it was, I'll say I mean, what would that be in GBP? Maybe we're going to just do GBP just for everyone's sanity. What was it? Oh, I've got to 913 quid. So even though I didn't actually maximize the profit on this, because actually someone sold it on after, I still made for a month's work. Well, how long did it last? Pretty much like 3 weeks. I don't know, something like 3 weeks. I basically just made 913 quid profit on one product, or I call it product. I'm thinking of Amazon. But you get what I mean, on one thing. And that wasn't because I believed in the project as such. I believed in the people that are backing it, Gary Vee, certain influencers, because I respect their opinion, because I know them, I've watched them for years, and I have listened to them talk about NFTs, crypto, business, everything, and most of their things that they say are right. And so and that's so my weight of my value is high for them. Some people it isn't high, and so I don't do anything with that. And I basically looked, and this was it. What happened is they talked about it for a couple of times, and I was just looking. I didn't buy anything; it's just looking. And then it's on my radar. Maybe the floor price was too high. Maybe this floor price, if it's already high up here, then it's not the right time to be buying. See, it's not going to buy. You don't want to be buying here. You want to be buying basically here. 0.079 average price. You see, like that's the floor now, so it's not far off that. You could say it might never get. I mean, it may never get that low. It might only get to somewhere like here, somewhere like 0.097, which is kind of like where we are now. So this kind of like bottom grey line, where it says 0.1. That seems to be a quite nice base. And you could use that as a top. So you could just be buying a little bit lower than this maybe, and selling kind of up here. And obviously this is an average price, not the floor price. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful not to wait for this line to get here, because that's across every single different World of Women, not World of Women, Women and Weapons NFT. And so obviously some are rarer, so they go for higher prices. So you got to be careful with that. And I basically waited, and then I was just having a click around on here, and I do that every day. I just go onto different projects and have a quick look, see if there's any gems that someone's listed either by accident or they just didn't know it was rare. And I went and bought it, and then I just held it, and I was like, cool. It's not expensive. It was like 0.11. It wasn't like a whole ETH or anything. I bought things for a whole ETH before, and so I was like, okay, so it's not lots of capital tied up in that. I can wait, and I waited, and then that happened, and I thought, yeah, this is a good price to sell, because I don't exactly know what's going on. It wasn't really a long-term hold. It was something I wanted. And I was happy to hold if it really came to it, but the profit's good enough for me to decide that that's enough, because I'm still early in the game. I want to be accumulating profits early as well, because I want to boost my confidence. I want to get confident with all of the stuff that I'm doing with NFTs early. I want not be buying, watching it go up, back down, going, no, I'm holding it for the long term. It's like, but you're seeing all this profit that you could have been selling for, and then you could have bought back in, you could have sold it again and bought back in like 10 times. You know, is it really? So you have to be mindful that you don't want to just be buying and holding forever on everything. That's how I see it. I still want to be making profits along the way, just like with an Amazon business. I don't want to be buying loads of Lego and holding it for 5 years and then make, you know, it's just not my game. Doesn't mean that no one else's sort of philosophy can be different, and it can be. But this is just one example, and that is one thing that has attributed towards my over 1/8 profit this month. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Any questions, let me know. And this is something you can go ahead and do yourself. Doesn't mean it has to be on women and weapons, but the problem is you've got to really understand. You got to understand what the project is first. Is it even worth investing in the project? Is it good? You know, does it have volume? Does it have people actively trading it? What is the floor price compared to the historical prices of ever? How many is in the collection? How rare is the different ones? Or, you know, there's lots to. So that's why I like to read and watch for a while things that are going on before making a purchase, because I don't really know the state of play with it. Because you can find that some projects are just crap ultimately, and they're never going to make you money. So you've got to be careful there. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed the first video. Sorry about all this crap clicking. I mean, I'm not going to actually edit any of this because it's still early days, so you're going to get the raw versions, just like you just saw that stuff at the background, but all good. Anyway, leave it there, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.